I'm Sunny.
I'm Randy, and this is Bourbon Wine and True Crime, a podcast where three festive but grumpy friends sit down once a week to drink together virtually and discuss true crime. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Well, hello.
I'm one-eared and in a closet this week.
So we're doing well.
We're doing well.
We
Cheers.
are doing well.
And
Cheers.
I feel prepared as I don't have enough solution in my glass.
Yeah. Well, last time you had a pint glass of tequila, so I feel like
Yeah, we're good.
we're good. But yeah, no, my background does make me feel like Santa is whispering something naughty into my ear. And so this was brought to my attention during the company Christmas party when I was on virtually.
What would you say he's whispering?
You're on the naughty list.
Yeah, don't say.
I'm like, I know. I just there's nothing I can do.
Top 10. There's nothing I could do.
There's nothing I could do.
I saw a dog toy that I was buying presents for the dogs, and it was like, wait, there's a list. I was like, oh, I feel that.
Oh. Well, ladies, what are you drinking? I, full disclosure, am drinking nothing because I did yesterday, and today needs to not be a day that I'm doing that.
I probably the same for me, but I'm on vacation right now, so it's like that's next year's problem.
That seems good.
Next year's in 10 days.
So then what are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking my traditional vodka.
Awesome.
The vodka.
Maybe we should change the name of the podcast at some point.
So you're always drinking it out of the glass with the straw. What's in the vodka? Like, what do you mix it with?
It's vodka, club soda, and lemon or lime.
Okay.
Because I'm a purist. Not really. There's just less calories.
Bringing bourbon next week, so we're gonna be back on brand. We're gonna be back.
I'm bringing wine. So we were at a liquor store in Denver because we did a whole date weekend after Thanksgiving, and I found my divorce wine, which I really like. It's Papillon. And I do this thing where I get excited about things and I don't look at the prices. Mm-hmm. And this is a bottle of wine that's usually like $60-$70. And because it was downtown Denver, it was 120.
Ooh,
that's too many.
And so I bought it because I didn't know what to do when they said the total. So that's what we're gonna be.
That's like when you bought perfume in Vegas.
To be fair, that was like 4 years ago and I still have it.
You're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
How much?
Sunny's staring at me I bought perfume and eyeliner and it was like 160, I think. And Sunny's just staring at me and I'm staring at her as I'm like sliding my cart across the counter because I didn't know what to do.
But that happened to me recently when I bought my perfume too, because before I had been getting like the little roller stick. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's time to get the big girl one. And I said, oh no, when they told me the total, but then I bought it anyway. Cause also I'm like, yeah, that's what I always pay for that.
Fine.
That seems great.
Totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
So this is exciting because Sunny's doing the first case in a while. And so I can't wait to hear what you picked.
Yes.
You're not the depressing one. You do like the fun cases. So I'm
yeah.
curious.
Okay. So this is,
or
so
the morbidly unsolved cases. That's what she does.
No, I just like most of mine don't involve, spoiler alert, don't involve murder. That's usually not what they involve. Mm-hmm. And so just staying in the same spirit. This does not. But I like this crime nonetheless because it involves some stupid stuff.
Okay.
So, all right. And so do you guys want to know what it's going to entail beforehand, or do you want it to be revealed as we go along? Because there is a theme.
I just say you go for it.
Yeah, I like surprises.
Yeah, roll it out.
Okay. All right, so we are throwing it back today to 1927.
Oh, love the 20s.
Mm-hmm. We are located in the central Texas town of Cisco.
Don't like Texas.
So we are starting with a guy named Marshall Ratliff, who was an ex-con who lived in Cisco, Texas. He had been imprisoned previously for bank robbery, but was on parole, and so naturally wanted to rob a bank again.
No, that tracks. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Initially, he wanted to plan this robbery with his brother Lee, but Lee was arrested before the planning could even begin. So he decided to pull in 2 other fellows that he knew previously, and then a man who was supposedly good with safes. Thwarted immediately again, the safe man came down with the flu. So it's going well. The planning is going well for the robbery.
How do you advertise that? Is that like on your business card, like good with saves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
just like, do you carry around a small safe to make demonstrations like as you're going along?
that's
Just
the only
jingle
thing on the
keys.
resume. Yeah.
Could be anything. So they wrangled in just a random 4th guy who knew the other 2. And then that was their crew. It's important to note that during this period in Texas, 3 or 4 banks were being robbed every day. And so in response, the Texas Bankers Association, if this isn't funny, but it's funny, had offered a $5,000 reward to anyone shooting a bank robber during the crime. So there were
oh, geez, that escalated quickly.
So needless to say, there was just a lot of pistol toting and waving around.
I swear, officer, my husband was trying to rob the bank when I shot him inside. I had no idea.
It's the weirdest thing how that happened.
He was trying, I swear, officer, I can just.
He looked suspicious.
So minus the 1920s, this sounds like the opening scenes of Ant-Man.
Oh my God.
Where they're just like, I know a guy, I know a safe. Like, oh geez.
Okay, so this will come into play later, but just important to note. So Ratliff was a recognizable con because he'd, done a fair amount of robbery in that area before. Mm-hmm. So he decided it was going to be important to disguise himself. I'm so tickled. Can you tell? What time of year was this, do you ask?
Christmas.
It was Christmas time. So it only made sense to dress himself as Santa Claus.
Santa. 1923 Santa. Ooh.
There's lead paint in the beard.
Right. It's just, oh my God. So he and the 3 other guys stole a car, obviously, and headed into Cisco.
Go 35 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. So Ratliff, as Santa, strolled openly down the streets of Cisco, smiling, talking with children, patting them on the head, drawing absolutely no suspicion. And after a little while of walking, they had a little parade of children that kept following them, some of which actually followed them into the Target Bank.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Once inside, the clerk received a very pleasant greeting of, "Hello, Santa." And he didn't answer. There was another greeting of, "Hello, Santa," from the cashier. No answer. And then suddenly one of the other robbers pulled out a pistol. The 4 armed men ordered the assistant cashier to open the safe, and they began looting. All the other people in the bank suddenly found themselves in a hostage situation. A bank patron, I'm going to bungle this name, Mrs. B.P. Blassingame, maybe.
Wow.
And yep, and her 6-year-old daughter.
1923.
Only in 1922, and her daughter Frances.
Wow, had 2 initials before your last name.
No one knows. It's like E.E. Cummings, I guess. I don't know.
Weird.
But they had actually entered the bank because they saw Santa going in, and her daughter wanted to see Santa. Once they saw a robbery was going on, she ran to the alley to call for help, shoving her daughter out in front of her, and then alerting the police as she ran through the streets. Meanwhile, inside the bank, one of the men with an automatic weapon in each hand growled at the bookkeeper, "Don't look at me." And Santa Claus had filled his sack and exited the vault.
He had a sack?
He had a sack. Oh. Sure did. What happened next was a shootout.
Oh.
Who fired the first shot is uncertain, but a full-scale, just chaotic mess of gunfire began as many civilians who owned guns were now outside the bank and wanted that $5,000 reward.
Mm-hmm.
and many more had rushed to the hardware stores for pistols and rifles. I'm sorry, I can't.
The hardware store?
Yes.
Okay.
The assistant postmaster and the postmaster were two of the civilians who took up arms against the robbers. They opened fired. The fugitives started to get, hit and spun around. A bullet struck a cashier in the jaw. A bank customer got struck in the leg. And then one customer made a run for it and again alerted additional people. The robbers forced all of the people in the bank out the door and towards their originally stolen car. Now, I don't know how they were planning on fitting that many people into a sedan, but as you can tell, these guys had really great planning just overall. So,
very good mathematicians.
Yeah, very good mathematicians. Several of the hostages were wounded as they emerged into the alley, and most of the customers escaped. But the robbers did keep as hostages two little girls who were 12 and 10.
No.
Yeah. Using the girls as shields, the four made their way into the alley to their getaway car. In total, more than 100 shots had already been fired in the alley. Several police officers were mortally wounded, riddled with multiple bullet wounds.
From the fugitives or from the...
It was just a mess. Everyone was shooting at everybody. So we had several wounded police officers, 6 civilians that were wounded, and then one of the robbers was severely wounded in the shootout, while Ratliff suffered from 2 wounds, one in the chin, one in the leg. An officer Reddies ran to the police station and retrieved a rifle and began to pursue the robbers on foot. He was soon picked up and continued the pursuit with a civilian. The 4 robbers made it to the getaway car, booking it down the avenue when they realized they were almost out of gas.
Shut up.
Forgotten to
Shut
refill
up. This is like the three of us wake. There's nothing I could do. That's like the 3 of us wake up like, we're going to rob a bank in 10 minutes. Get your shit together.
It gets better. Hang on.
Oh, no.
So a mob continued to pursue them, with one shot landing in the tire of the getaway car and flattening it. The robbers stopped and stole a passing Oldsmobile, forcing the driver, who was 14 years old apparently, and that was fine, out. Okay, just wait. It gets so good. All right. They transferred the loot to the new car, ready to continue their getaway, only to find that the 14-year-old had taken the keys out of the ignition.
He was like, get fucked.
Are you smarter than a freshman?
Yes.
The answer is no.
So wait, so they've already moved all the stuff into the new car. There's no keys in the ignition. They have to move everything back into the first car that still has the flat tire. And at this point, one of the robbers was unconscious. So they left him in the second car that they were planning on taking. But what else did they accidentally leave, you might ask?
The money?
2 little
all
girls?
Of the money. The Oldsmobile.
But what else did they move? I feel like money would be the top priority. Like, what did
don't know.
Like, we got our lunch, we got our snacks.
Yeah, we got all the road
CDs.
snacks.
Got the headphones.
So they left one of the robbers who was passed out and all the money in the Oldsmobile. The left behind robber was taken to a hospital after his capture, but he did die from the bullet wounds. The 3 remaining bandits tried to drive through a pasture, which seemed like a good idea, but the landscape was too rough for the car and they had to proceed on foot with their 2 hostages. Police in other counties had been tipped off.
A little disturbing they remembered the hostages, but not the money.
I was just thinking that.
I don't know. These guys are a couple fries short of a Happy Meal, like throughout the whole thing. I love they're like, we need a crack safe guy. Oh, he has the flu. It's fine. We'll just get a random 4th guy. That we don't need anybody
that
does. Yeah, it'll be good. Let's see. Yeah, so police in other counties had been tipped off, and officers and citizens poured in from everywhere for a huge manhunt. Despite the search efforts, the bandits were able to evade search parties and steal another car the next morning. The pursuit continued throughout Saturday and Saturday night, One of the results of the Yuletide crime was really tragic implications for the children in the county. I guess on Christmas Eve, when they were at church and, everyone's jolly and having a lovely time, and they have St. Nicholas enter, a little boy called out with a quaver in his voice, "Santa Claus, why did you rob that bank?"
Oh no.
I
Oh,
know.
that's
Oh,
pretty traumatic.
Poor babies. So after hiding out all night with nothing to eat but oranges,
they remembered the oranges.
they remembered the road stacks. So, which they did not offer to their injured young hostages. The three robbers, Helms, Hill, and Ratcliffe, decided to return to Cisco in plain sight. The wounded bandits were doing very poorly due to their injuries, lack of food, and the terrible weather conditions. And they were ambushed by a sheriff in South Bend, and another car chase and shootout took place. Involved in the firefight was a deputy sheriff, Cy Bradford, who was really famous for bringing law and order into the areas that he oversaw. And I guess his career was filled with gunfights. And before his car had rolled to a stop, he was out with Old Betsy, his double-barreled shotgun.
So when law enforcement is shooting at the car, do they know that these children are in it?
I assume so. It doesn't say. I hope.
But it's 1923. They may not know anything.
So Bradford shot, reloaded, shot, reloaded, shot, reloaded. And one of the men went down, but then arose and staggered on. He continued to shoot, reload, shoot, reload.
Were they shooting BBs? Were they shooting BBs?
No, there was a double-barreled shotgun.
Jeez.
Yeah, so Ratliff was hit and then fell to the ground while the other two wounded escaped into the woods. Ratliff had a ton of weaponry on him, but he was too weak and too wounded at this point. Santa had been caught. The manhunt continued for the two remaining men, while they continued to flee, did so very slowly due to fatigue and loss of blood, and their track mark showed at some point that they were crawling.
Oh,
they were finally.
Where's the hostages?
I think they've lost the hostages at this point because they're too wounded. And they were finally caught in Graham, Texas, 1 week after the robbery, and at that point they put up no fights. The three wounded and starving men survived and went to trial. Helms attempted to plead insanity, which was unsuccessful, and he was given the electric chair in September of the following year.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Fun fact, randomly, he was said to have had cabbage, sausage, tomatoes, coffee, and pie for his last meal. When Hill took the stand, he claimed that he did it because of an unhappy childhood.
Oh, there it is.
And was sentenced to 99 years in prison. He escaped and was recaptured 3 times. And then he was paroled and finally released after about 20 years. And it said that he changed his name and went on to be a productive citizen.
Not unheard of in that time. Happened all the time in that era.
Santa was given the same sentence.
Wait, why was the one guy given the death sentence?
He had killed more people. Yeah, so it just was. And then let's see, Ratliff, Santa, was given the same sentence. Then a few months later, sentenced to death for 2 of the deaths that occurred during the robbery. He then immediately started to try to act crazy after an unsuccessful appeal, trying to get an insanity plea. So when the community found out, so this is going on, which is staying his execution. And when the community found out that Ratliff still hadn't been executed, they were angry. So November 18th, while awaiting execution, Ratliff, in true character, with his really well thought out plans, feigned paralysis, convincing his jailers that he needed a ton of extra help and convinced them to feed and bathe him and take him to the toilet.
Ew.
So after he duped them, he managed to get a hold of a 6-shooter in an office desk, fatally wounding one of the officers and violently fighting the second in hand-to-hand combat, sometimes shooting the gun that fortunately missed their mark. A lot of the town could see through the jail windows what was happening, but unfortunately could not open the steel door to help him. Finally, one of the officers pinned Ratliff down, beat him into unconsciousness, and returned him to his cell. Nearly 2,000 people gathered outside of the jail rallying for justice and for Ratliff's execution. They overpowered the police force and dragged him to a vacant lot. There, they threw a rope over a guy wire between 2 telephone poles on which they intended to hang him. His last words were, "Forgive me, boys," before he was hoisted 15 feet into the air.
Oh.
He was pronounced dead 20 minutes later at 9:55 p.m. on November 19th. Thus ended the infamous Santa Claus bank robbery.
That's a
That was
brutal
real
way to
dark.
go. Well, because I've been obsessed with true crime for way too long. When I was in high school, I did a research paper on the different death penalties. So it was like hanging, firing squad, and drawing a blank.
Electric chair.
No, they inject you with things. Lethal
Oh, okay.
injection. So not many states in the US will do hanging anymore, but it's like a equation that they do. So it's you weigh this much, the rope has to be this long. So theoretically, whenever the trap door drops, it snaps your neck. So you die within like 3 to 5 minutes. But to be just like hoisted up like that, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve it because he sounds like a dick.
Well, I know, but also the reason why I like this case is it was like the Four Stooges were trying to do a bank robbery.
Yeah. But in real life.
But in real life. And so hang on, I'm not done.
Uh-oh.
So while I was researching Santa crimes, I came across several websites dedicated to the belief that Santa Claus is actually a creepy criminal. So I thought it might be fun to review the crimes that the real Santa would likely get locked up for.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear this.
All right, so this is a compilation from a lot of places, but we're going to start with the most obvious one, which is home invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And to be found guilty of burglary, Santa only needs to be shown to have intent to commit a crime inside the building. And, the intent to swipe a little liquor and a snack inside could be sufficient. So we have home invasion. We also have trespass to land. So that's a physical invasion of a plaintiff's overall property. And it's just if they intentionally enter the plaintiff's land without permission. Open and shut case here.
Mm-hmm.
Santa lands on people's roofs, breaks into their homes. And so I think that there was not enough evidence that he would actually have permission to do so.
Yeah.
Another law that he would break is called trespassing animals. The owner of livestock or other animals is strictly liable for property damage caused by animals trespassing onto another's land.
Hence all the reindeer.
So 9 reindeer, each weighing on an average of 180 to 260 pounds, landing on a person's roof, probably going to cause some damage. And then it raises additional questions. So, okay, reindeer are considered wild animal. So are they considered domesticated? Did he domesticate his reindeer? And if reindeer are considered wild, then strict liability applies.
So I saw a random fun fact. So reindeer are caribou, and male caribou lose their antlers in the winter. So Santa's sleigh is pulled by female caribou.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
I like this. The next one he would likely be arrested
Hence
for
the name
is
Dancer and Prancer.
There it is.
I feel like all of them would be good. They're all
Yeah.
pretty gender neutral names. Donner,
Donner
Blitzen,
and Blitzen or Vixen.
Dasher.
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. Yeah, those
Cupid,
very-
come on.
Those are very gender neutral and
Those
very
very-
feminine-esque.
Very gender neutral. So I like this one because it involved math. So he also would likely get arrested for speeding. Because, okay, surface area of the earth is 196.9 million square miles.
Mm.
Santa Claus travels across the globe at midnight to deliver the gifts. Then he would be reaching speeds of 8.2 million miles per hour. Max speed permitted in a residential zone is usually 25 miles per hour, so that would definitely get a ticket. Also, likely he is flying without a license.
And intoxicated.
And
And intoxicated, yep.
What is the
So-
license for a sleigh with caribou?
So this is the question, is like, so Santa Claus's birth year is 280 AD. So he's been piloting his aircraft for 1,740 years without a license. The closest town to the North Pole is Longyearbyen. Longyearbyen. Unless he's flying 828 miles to renew his license every year, he isn't registered to fly. So, and it also can be noted that for the longest time, Santa was the only person in an aircraft, so he wouldn't have been able to get a license.
Mhm.
So
Also
with a
true.
fine of at least 250,000 per violation, he's looking at a fine of $435 million.
Oof.
Likely also would be guilty of unlawful surveillance and privacy violations.
Mhm.
Because the naughty and nice list.
I mean, they said that he's likely engaging in global surveillance enterprises that would far rival NSA. It makes him look like a bunch of silly ninnies. And, you know, it is for the naughty and nice list, but given that he knows when each of the estimated 526 million Christian children under the age of 14 are sleeping and when they're awake,
That's very disturbing.
very disturbing, and likely has very sophisticated technology that's going to break a lot of laws. There's also products liability. He has a toy shop, and it's no secret that his toy shop, aka sweatshop, employs hundreds of elves working around the clock to make toys for children. And so there's likely a defect or two. And so he's likely liable for any injuries caused by defective products. And that also takes us into labor and employment law offenses. So, you know, there's no indication of if they have pensions or disability benefits, sufficient procedures in
Dental,
place.
vision.
Yep. And so you know, those are the big ones, but he also, you know, is likely guilty of animal cruelty, forcing 8 or 9 captive reindeer to fly millions of miles. Definitely callous and inhumane. Driving under the influence. Imbibing tens of millions of units in alcohol in less than 24 hours. Probably not going well.
Wait, do people leave alcohol out for Santa? I left milk and cookies.
Well,
A lot of
eggnog.
people leave alcohol out. Intentional infliction of emotional distress.
Yes.
Naughty
Definitely.
children may deserve lumps of coal, but that's not a sufficient defense for the resulting emotional distress.
There's a really funny TikTok right now going around where it's a British dad and his son, and he's like, I'm gonna, no, he says, St. Nicholas called me and said you were being a naughty boy and you're not gonna get any presents this year. And he's like, shut up, Dad. He didn't say that. I'm on the good list. I'm on the good list. I am not on the naughty list. Stop saying that shit.
Oh, shit.
6.
Yes.
It's the best. I don't know who that is, but if it's the best. It's amazing.
So
Oh
I
my
saw
God.
I saw a funny D&D meme, Dungeons and Dragons. And it was, if you haven't played it, it's a tabletop role-playing game. And there's a race of people that are halflings and they're very small. And it was about like a distraught halfling approaches you and asks to help free their people from this, you know, terrible environment. And you go through all this stuff. And then you crest the final hill and it's Santa's workshop.
Stop it. Stop it. Oh my God. All right, I just have a couple more, I promise. But he also likely violates the laws against threatening of minors. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why.
That's
Santa
pretty-
Claus is coming to town.
Wow, when you put it that way.
So they said, first off, he stalks the children. He knows that they do at all times. So technically, if a minor commits a crime, he's now an accomplice to the act. And then second, threatening minors is illegal. So let's see, alienation of affection. In several US states, if someone sees mommy kissing Santa Claus, then daddy can sue that third party for disrupting his marriage. Of course, airspace and customs violation. Flaunting sovereign airspaces and carrying contraband items across international borders has legal consequences. Antitrust violations. Santa has a monopoly over the Christmas gift market, and giving away commercial items for free undoubtedly reduces competition and hurts competitors. And finally, there's likely a lot of tax evasion going on. There are no records of Santa having paid taxes to any tax authority. And while the enormous losses he accrues from gifting the estimated 142 trillion in toys he manufactures may negate any income tax liability, he may owe tariffs and taxes for his activities, including payroll taxes for elves, if a court were to deem them employees. And so I will, the jury's out. I will leave it, in your hands, how you feel about dear Saint Nick and his nefarious deeds. But
you would pick a story where you ruin Santa. Sunny ruins everything.
You've said it before. You called it way a year ago. Yep.
And so what is he whispering in my ear?
Your superpower?
Tax evasion.
Tax evasion. Well, ladies, that's it for my Santa crimes.
Now I want to do a case on oh God, what's Santa's polar opposite? Krampus.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, Krampus gets all the heat, but let's talk about what our jolly fella in red is doing. Like, what is he up to? I'm sorry, but is that not the best bank robbery story ever? It's so good.
It's like I said, it's if I wanted to rob a bank and I was like, yo, we got 10 minutes to get this shit together.
And we're like, we got
Albert Fish walk around in a Santa getup at some point, or did I imagine that? Or was that another serial killer?
We need to cover him. I think he's dead now. He's a disgusting human being.
But I want to say like he did something in that realm, but I could be I could be confusing him with someone else.
One of the other men that target children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was looking up like Christmas crimes and Santa crimes, most of them were like pretty gruesome, and I was like, I don't like that. So I was very happy when I came across this one.
Very cool.
That's those poor people that got shot just for being there.
I know, but everyone, they literally like ran in mobs, grabbing guns wherever they could. They're like, I'm gonna get him.
I'm gonna go to the hardware store. Give me a 6-shooter. Ma, get the rope.
It's why I am not pro 2A, but I'm very pro gun. And I know this was like the 20s, and I hope gun safety things have evolved since then. Probably not. Anyway, but one of the things that they teach you whenever you're doing like your firearm training and your gun thing is that you look like at, around, and through your target. Because fun fact, I found this out the other day. Sunny, I know that you're not into guns. AJ, do you know a lot about them?
I know a small amount.
So you know how you have home defense rounds and then like range rounds?
I did not know that.
Okay, so you have my primary home defense round is a 9mm Ruger. And so I have home defense rounds for it because if you have a not home defense round, like a hollow point or a full metal jacket, a 9mm full metal jacket or hollow point will go through 23 sheets of drywall. So if somebody breaks into my house and I shoot them, it will go through them, through the house to the neighbor. So home defense rounds are really important. So I always get like so annoyed. And again, I know this was a long time ago, but it's like, if I'm shooting somebody, which worst case scenario, I have guns where if somebody does break in, my guns are a deterrent. I have my shotgun. And like, if you hear that like click clack and you keep coming, all right, you're probably here to do damage to me and, the people in the house. But like those people were probably hit because those people were just like, $5,000, yo. I'm gonna get, but like you're hurting other people that were.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone's going from all directions, and it's just a mob. So it was just a real.
Gun safety and gun education is so important. Don't shoot people.
But $5,000.
People.
Don't put one in your house if you don't know enough about it.
There's one of my soldiers told me about a crime that just happened where a 10-year-old got a hold of a gun and shot his mom in the face because she didn't buy him. Did you hear about
this? Oculus. Yep. She wouldn't buy him an Oculus. Did you hear about the one where the kid stabbed his mom with his pocket knife and then hit her over the head with the frying pan because she asked him to clean his room?
Oh my God.
That was like 3 days later.
I didn't hear about that one. But here's the thing. I like guns. I have guns. I go to the range a lot. Every gun that I have ever bought has a gun lock. It's a shitty gun lock. Like my shotgun has a gun lock. All of my pistols come with like cable locks. And it's like, you can like guns. And I know I'm going off on like a soapbox that is like wholly unrelated to the case. The case was fun. Lock up your guns. And Sunny, whenever you and your little would come over, I would make sure my shit was like completely out of reach for even for me, just in case, because I didn't want something crazy to happen. Like, gun safety is important. Gun training is important. Exercise your American rights. Do your thing. Don't be a.
There was another one where a little boy shot himself because he was at a friend's house celebrating a birthday party, and there was a gun left out, and he shot himself. He was like 11 or 12. This just happened. It's exactly what you're saying. Like, be responsible, put it away. Like,
y'all, it's not 1927 anymore.
mm-mm.
But if it were, aim for Santa.
Aim for Santa, look who's behind Santa.
Yes. But
even I think between me and Eduardo, we have probably about like 2 dozen guns between us. We always know where they're at. And the thing with the 10-year-old, what I question is, does a 10-year-old know how to like chamber around, take off the safety? Was it just like, these are
questions.
And also these are children. And it sucks because he's getting tried as an adult. And I will never agree with somebody at that age being tried as an adult, because I don't think that they can fully understand the consequences of their actions. But like, secure your shit, lock it up. There's safes, there's gun locks, there's cable locks, there's remove the bullets from the gun, from the clip. It's just, it kind of upsets me because, Sunny, I think with your case, like, we haven't gone much farther with gun safety and gun education than, like, if that case happened now, I think it would play out the same way, where people are just like, getting my $5,000.
Mm-hmm. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Also, yes. So speaking of which, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I will die on this hill.
I'll build the hill for you, because I agree.
Yes. Well, I hope everyone's feeling very festive after this case.
It is day 5 of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Which I'm super excited this year, because the last day of Hanukkah. So for those of you that don't celebrate Hanukkah, the last day of Hanukkah is when you get like your big present. And the last day of Hanukkah this year is Christmas.
It's on Christmas.
And I'm always excited when they overlap a little bit.
Yes.
We'll post pictures of me and Sunny are going to be together for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
So I'm going to post pictures of her. Very thoughtful, extremely on brand, just really amazing Christmas gift. I hope you don't hate it.
I already hate it.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna head out.
Bye.
Oh my God. All right, ladies. Well,
we love you.
We love you.
Please leave us a positive review. Tell your friends about us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Bourbon Wine and True Crime. Email us at bourbonwineandtruecrime@yahoo.com for case suggestions. I have a case suggestion from Edmund.
Nice.
Yeah. Super excited about it. I haven't looked into it, so I don't know if it's any good.
I love you.
Love you.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Happy
Bye.
Hanukkah.